Welcome back to Let's Make a Game. I have made a change to the images representing the different races that the player can choose in my game. I have given them rounded corners, which I think looks more professional. And in this video, I would like to show you how I did it. The program that I'm using is GIMP. GIMP is a free program similar to Photoshop. This is the only program that I use, so I can't tell you how close the steps I'm going to take are to options available in other packages. I'm sorry. I can just show you what I did. Most of the steps here are creating a sort of template which has two colors, one color representing the parts of the image that are going to stay as they are, and the other representing the corners that are going to be cut off. So I know that the originals of the pictures that I am going to manipulate are 1024 by 1024 pixels. So the first thing I do is create a new image, which is 1024 by 1024 pixels. It can be color or black and white. It doesn't matter. All we need is two different colors representing pixels to be kept and pixels to be gotten rid of. Once we've got the image, we right click on here and add alpha channel. What that does is creates the possibility for the picture to be partly transparent, and we're going to need to do that because we're going to be erasing different parts of the image as we go. So we create the alpha channel. Then we need to choose, it's already chosen, but we need to choose the pencil tool. Make sure not to choose the paintbrush tool. I'll show you the difference. The pencil tool creates a sort of sharp edge, whereas the paintbrush tool creates a sort of fuzzy edge, and we need a sharp edge. So we choose the pencil tool, and we now need to choose the size of the brush. The size of the brush is going to determine how much of a corner we have. If we put that right in the corner, we can see that would, as we've got it now, that would create a tiny little corner. If the brush was bigger, the corner would be bigger, and if it was smaller, the corner would be smaller. So we need a menu that I can't currently see, which is the tool options. So to get that, I go to Windows, Dockable Dialogues, and tool. It's also down here, but it'll definitely be in Windows Dockable Dialogues tool options, and that appears. And one of the options we have there is size. We can change the size by just sliding up and down, and you can see that changes the size of the little circle. We can also use these up and down arrows for sort of more fine manipulation. Oops. And we can also type in the size that we want if we know the size that we want. I do know the size that we want because I've done this before. So I'm just going to type it in, 279 pixels, and that gets us this. So we make sure that the foreground color, the one that's in the top left-hand corner here, in this case black, is different to the color of the image. And we make a single click, and that gives us a circle. Now we need to move that circle into the exact corner, so something like about there. And we do that with the movement tool, which is this compass points sort of icon here. And we just click and we move. Now we can see that we could sort of have a go, but to get it right to the very pixel, we need to zoom in a bit more. This resolution isn't going to allow us to do that. So the way you zoom in GIMP is just by pressing plus, so shift and the key that has plus and equals, and that'll zoom you in, and then you use these sliders to get to the bit you want. Now we want to zoom in until we can see the individual pixels. You can see that this no longer looks like a smooth curve. It's now a sort of series of horizontal and vertical steps, and that's what we want. So what we're going to do is, still with the arrow key, we're going to move this. First of all, we make sure that we really are looking at the corner with these sliders. Make sure this slider is right up the top and this one's to the left. And using the move tool, we make sure that we put it so that we're just on the edge, but not going over. So not like that, but just so the edge of the circle is exactly on the border. And once we've done that, we click back on the pencil tool. We need to make the pencil size a lot smaller now, because what we're going to do is sort of from the bit where it touches, paint out a little bit. That'll probably do. And then we can zoom out. We can zoom out again by using minus, but a quick way to do it is Command-Shift-J, or that's on a Mac. On a PC it would be Control-Shift-J, and that will zoom out so that the image is exactly framed in the screen. So you can see that what we've got is we've got this white bit in the corner that's going to be cut out, and then we've got a sort of black bit which is going to stay. And what we're going to do is create duplicates of this for each corner and move each one into a different corner. Now, to do that, what we're going to do is create duplicates of the images, and then we're going to rotate the images different ways. But to make sure that the rotation sends them from one corner to another corner, we need to make sure that that it's rotating around the right point. And the way we do that is we go Layer, Layer to Image Size. And you can see that yellow dotted line moves so that it's now just the boundary of the image. And if we do that, that'll make the rotation work. Now, first we need to get rid of this white space. Isn't really needed anymore. So we can use the eraser tool, which is this one that looks like a sort of school eraser. And again, I'll go into tool options and make it a bit bigger. And then we just, oh, it's fuzzy, sorry. That's right, we, tool options, we need to pick hard edge. We need to click that box there, hard edge, so that it erases the whole thing. So we sort of, oh, that's probably a bit close. So get rid of that. If we didn't do that, the different copies would sort of cover each other up. So we've got one corner sort of defined. So now we need to make the others. So we get into this layers menu. If the layers weren't showing, what we do is again go Windows Dockable Dialogues, Layers. And we right click and we duplicate layer. So we're creating copies. So we want 4 copies, so we're going to need to do that 3 times. And now, finally, we're going to rotate them. So starting with the top layer, I'll go Layer, Transform, Rotate 90 degrees clockwise. It doesn't matter which order you do this, but let's say 90 degrees clockwise. And you can see that one rotates and ends up in the top right-hand corner. Now we'll get another one. We'll click on the right one, and now we might say Layer, Transform, Rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. And that'll go down at the bottom left-hand corner. Click on another one. We go Layer, Transform, Rotate 180 degrees, and that goes into the opposite corner. So now we've defined all of the 4 corners. So now we merge down, and merge down. What that means is it's combining the separate layers. So now we have a single layer, and we just need to fill in the rest of this image, and our template is complete. So you can see that if we got rid of all of the white bits and kept all the black bits, we'd have random corners. Now I normally would export that and save it, but of course I've already done it, so I don't have to. But normally I'd save it in the bridge and then originals, and I've saved it as rounded corner template 279px, just in case I ever lose the file, or the file gets corrupted or something, just to remind me of the size, so I can do it from scratch if I need to. Hopefully seeing that will remind me of the size of it if it ever becomes necessary. But of course in this case I don't need to export it because I've already done a copy. So now I'll show you how we create the actual things that you see in the game. So we go File. I'll only do it with one because the steps are the same for all of the different pictures. We go Open as Layers. That means Open as Layers means that it's going to open a file, but it's not going to open it as a separate thing. It's going to open it inside this image just as a new layer or layers. So we Open as Layers. Let's do the dwarf one, I suppose. Dwarf original. There he is. So let's put him on the bottom by going to the layers thing. We drag him down to the bottom. Now, there's a couple of ways to do this, but you could get that magic wand, which is the fuzzy select tool, and you could click in there. Oops, sorry, I'm on the wrong layer. That's why it looks weird. Click in there and it clicks that bit, and then we go Shift click, sorry, left click specifically, and then Shift left click and Shift left click again, and we've chosen all of the white bits. Or what is probably quicker is we choose this Select by Color tool, and then we click on there, and it will just choose all of the white bits on the screen. Then, if we move this layer to the top, and we choose, we have to add an alpha channel to this one as well. We add alpha channel, and then we go Command X, and we hide that one, and there we have the picture with rounded corners. And then we just need to then we just need to change the size of it, because this is 1024 and that's way too big for Twine. The ones that we're using are 200, so we scale it to 200 by 200 pixels. It'll change that one automatically because it preserves if we've got this this picture of a chain and it's not broken, it'll preserve the ratio between the two sizes. So if you change one, it'll automatically change the other. And then we choose scale, and we have a 200 by 200 version, and then we can export that as whatever we need it to be. In this case, it would be in pix, and it would be 1. And because for each race there's two pictures, there's the big one at the beginning that you use to choose which one you want, and then there's the small one on the sidebar. We go Control Z or Command Z, depending on what we're using, and then we scale it again to 100. Again, it changes it automatically, changes the other one automatically, and then we can export that to, oops, pressed the wrong one. We can export that to small 1. And or at least that's what we would do if we hadn't already done it. Now, the reason I went scale to 200, Control Z, scale to 100, rather than scale to 200, then scale to 100, is because just in case, because when you scale it to 200, you'll lose some information, of course, because it's going to be a smaller picture. And so when I scale that to 100, that's probably going to be have slightly less information than if I scale it to 100 straight from 1024, if that makes sense. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know if the end result is all that different, but that's why I did it in that weird order. But anyway, now that I've got the, I don't need to keep anything. Now that I've got that template, if I ever add other races, I only need to do the last few steps, of course. Most of what we were doing was creating the template. So that is how you create rounded corners. And I hope that was of useful interest to at least some of you. And I hope you will tune in next time.